was always kind of that proudly nerdy kid that embraced technology and really liked to dig in and kind of understand how things worked. When I was in middle school, actually, I started doing what is now kind of turned into, all these years later, my own LLC, and just been doing technology consulting as long as I can remember. I've always enjoyed helping people with technology, learn, understand how to use it in new ways and hopefully exciting ways for those who are willing to. And yeah, starting out in middle school, I used to help my friends and friends' parents and my community members kind of with their own personal one-on-one kind of tech coaching, some small business purchase consulting and implementation things. At the time, it started just setting up the printers and the new computers for people, and then all these years later, I'm lucky enough to have probably about 150 clients I work with these days now, tech consulting around the Chicagoland and Indianapolis area. It was really interesting that I didn't kind of go into it wanting to do that as like a full-time gig or even thinking it was work. But when you enjoy something like that, it kind of just came naturally. And I was lucky enough to kind of find my little niche back in the day, and that led me to kind of go into that in school and now find a career in that long term. So that's really what kicked things off at the beginning. When it came time to make the big decision and figure out if I was going to school, where I was going to school, I looked around and I really wanted to find something that gave me a good fit between the passions that I had, which I was learning at the time were not only technology, but also business too. So I looked around and like I mentioned, I'm from Chicagoland area. So I initially kind of started the search in a smaller radius, and eventually I stumbled upon Butler University down here in Indianapolis. And they had a really interesting kind of infusion of practical business courses and curriculum that they were going through. And they didn't have as much of the tech as I really was seeing at some of the other schools that I considered, but I took a leap of faith, so to speak, and jumped into Butler. And I went in studying entrepreneurship and innovation and management information systems. So I really got a cool kind of hybrid approach between the business and the technology. Since I had some of that kind of before I even went into school, I figured I'm going to keep this going and keep learning and connecting these dots. So, bringing that business piece in to kind of fill those gaps and kind of round out my skill set was the right decision. And it kind of enabled me to continue doing my freelance work on the side as I was studying. So it was really cool to, be a student, and do all my student things and go to class, have my social circles at school, but also work with clients that were at that point about 3 hours away from me, and then start building a cool local client base here of just as good, people and clients that I've worked with, and kind of continue building that, not as the full-time thing, but always the enjoyable side thing that doesn't feel like work. So throughout those consulting experiences, I was actually lucky enough to go through those years at Butler and make some really good connections that one of which actually turned into my full-time employer today at Crown Haven. So I was working for a marketing firm on Butler's campus, and one of the clients that we engaged with through the community was Crown Haven. At the time, they were a 3-person firm. So I was like employee number 4 or 3 minus the owner, whatever you want to call it, but kind of getting in at the ground floor and initially engaged with them as a consultant, helped them with some marketing stuff and just kind of getting their tech situated from a very early base level while I was sophomore going into junior year at Butler. So I continued to work with them, on and off throughout the next year and some change. And a little bit after that, when I was kind of getting into the, what am I going to do now in the real world kind of decision point, I was engaging with them still for those freelance gigs. And they said, hey, what are you doing after school? What kind of, you got any offers yet? Where are you thinking about going? We're going to miss you kind of thing. And then that turned into, hey, how could we maybe make this work and bring you onto the team and help build what we're doing here out as a small team? Fast forward a couple years, we got about 15 people working for Crown Haven these days. And I was actually lucky enough to bring about 4 of my other Bulldogs from my graduating class in the fold with me. So I still work with some of my good friends that were my good classmates, back in the day. There's a lot of different tools I use and skills that I feel like I use on a regular basis. Just kind of depends on the hat of the day that I'm wearing, right? As I'm sure a lot of people in and around technology, you have to stay agile, nimble, whatever you want to call it. It has changed a lot since the early days of fixing old iPhone 4s or 5s, whatever it was at the time, and kind of getting my hands dirty with hardware, so to speak. A lot of what I do right now, supporting small business that I work for full-time, and then any of my freelance clients, a lot of it is software-based consulting and support. So, using a lot of, from the simplest stuff, like, just getting on screen shares with people, right? Very basic things that a lot of even non-tech folk would be familiar with, to all the way to the other end of the spectrum. Like I'm a certified Salesforce administrator. We actually took the undertaking of, when I joined the Crown Haven team full-time, building out a completely custom Salesforce CRM built on the Salesforce Financial Service Cloud model. So going through that as someone that was familiar with the tech side of things, but frankly was always a little bit more uncomfortable around the math and finance courses I was taking. That was not my admittedly strong suit at all. I kind of jumped in head first with that, and I was able to learn a little bit about the industry while I was also understanding what if anyone knows Salesforce, it's a massive, tech suite of a lot of different intricate pieces working together to hopefully add up to a well-oiled machine if you implement it right and you're really architecting it correctly. So part of my journey more recently has been working around, tools like that. And we've actually been able to partner with Salesforce and another kind of side business there too. So understanding really what it works as, or how it works, I should say, as an admin, but also how you can build on top of it and offer value for one business or multiple across the country has been something that's very, very valuable and I think unique. Besides that, of course, I'm also using a wide variety of tools just to kind of stay knowledgeable and kind of in tune with tech as the trends change and as new tech comes onto the scene and or fades out, and either side of that equation. But having to use a lot of project management tools to kind of stay organized and keeping my finger on the pulse of any of the AI fun that's come up recently. It's allowed me to work with a wide variety of tools, but staying kind of, like I said, agile and nimble between the different areas and skill sets has, I think, been probably my biggest element of myself that's been able to help me jump between so many different tasks and projects over the years. On a small team, there's a lot of shifting priorities, and one day you might be focused on one thing and you might be planning to shift that the next day, but something might pop up and it might be an hour later that you got to totally shift gears. So just staying kind of quick on your feet, or I like to think so, kind of enables the rotation of those skill sets in and out as you need them. And as far as what the future holds, so to speak, and where the tech's going to take me, I hope it continues to help me, build out my network around town. I've been very, very lucky and blessed to have some great mentors still around the Butler kind of area and circle or bubble, whatever you want to call it, that have allowed me to really stay connected with new and emerging tech here in Indiana. I never thought when I moved here that this would be or start growing into the tech hub that it seemed to turn into. I feel lucky to have been in a lot of ways the right place at the right time, and kind of understanding that it was something that I've seen now, looking back, was the plan for a lot of people, right? TechPoint especially. I was lucky enough to go through the extern programs way back in the day. Feels like forever ago, but those helped me so much in kind of understanding what was happening in my backyard that I really wasn't planning to get out of the community when I moved here. I wanted to stay kind of close to Chicagoland, and of course I got that, but also having so much of that shift here and become this hub, it's allowed me to just kind of choose my own adventure, so to speak, right? And work with some clients of varying disciplines that I never really thought I would. to find my own path and create my own little network in town. That's always teaching me, and that's something that I always like to be learning. I always like to be moving forward, and Indianapolis is the tech hub that allows me to do that, I think, in one of the best ways I've seen. So it's a pleasure to be here and excited to see what the future holds, but man, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So figuring it out every day. I choose my own adventure. I think anyone giving advice, you're inherently going to be a little bit biased to whatever you as yourself would like to see or get into. But for those that kind of get into tech, into that gear, and know that they have a passion in here, I would say especially today in 2025, as crazy as that is to say, there has never been a time where, to my knowledge, there's never been a time where it's been more possible to go out and find what exactly you want to do. Like I said, I still don't know what I want to do long term. I'm probably going to wear a lot of different hats as long as I'm working, but there is something, not only to sound like the cliche, like there's something for everyone, but there is a piece of tech or a software or platform. There's a path for everyone in tech. And to be able to, live in this day and age, in this location, and have the flexibility to go down whatever path you choose to. I never thought I'd be sitting here a couple years out of school, and I was lucky enough to be nominated for a Mir Award with a startup a couple years ago that was, just a little idea when we were leaving school. There's never been a time where it's been more possible to go out and just go to whatever AI tool you like and say, tell me, 10 new little niche disciplines within one area of tech that interests and excites you. Go try 5 of them. Go see what you like. Go experience something. Go become valuable to a little company that's trying to make it, or a big one that's been established that maybe is starting an initiative around something that's interesting to you. Find your own path and don't settle for something because it's a convenient option. There is so many ways you can be successful these days, and of course that's all relative to one's definition, but to actually be able to pick whatever niche technology and go out and be able to make a living from it, with the right person in the right place, of course, but it's never been more possible. So go and find what you're looking for, what doesn't feel like work to you, and man, it's gonna be a lot better path and a lot less friction in your journey if you do it that way.